Although I liked my husband and we lived close, I didn't get along well with my mother-in-law, Kim. She was very cruel. She wasn't liked by my spouse, R, or his family either. When R and I initially started dating, I was too afraid to confront him about his distaste for his mother. At first, he was reluctant to discuss it, but when he did, he said to me, "My mother isn't a kind person. You may think well of everyone, but my mother is primarily a nasty person." Why, in your opinion, R? Has something negative occurred? Indeed, a great deal happened. She is self-centered and avaricious. When we were younger, my mother even obtained credit cards in my sister's and my name, and her extravagant spending led to my parents' divorce. To repair our credit, my dad had to pay off all of those bills. Oh my goodness. Kim never paid them back, but she lives in such a fancy house and spends a lot of money. My dad was supposed to live in that house. If Dad didn't give her the house, Mom threatened to keep us from seeing him. She barely used the money she had, which was actually Dad's child support payments. Kim was incredibly cruel to Rhett and his sister, Rosie. I find it difficult to even consider it without being angry. It altered my perception of Kim entirely. It became evident that Kim was the true issue after they met Rhett's father, George. She exploited George and his finances. It was quite depressing. They weren't close, so I didn't see or interact with Kim much until Laura and I got married. However, I got to see her in person after we were married. Kim would constantly beg Rhett for money. R could scarcely save any money for himself, since she would con and threaten him into giving her money. We chose to buy a house, which made things considerably worse. We scraped up enough money for the down payment, but none of us could afford to buy it outright. We adored our ideal house, which we had built, but Kim's avarice just increased. She even paid us a visit and said, "Wow, this is a really nice house. Did you succeed in getting my son to cover the cost? This house is really large." We're both contributing to paying for this house, Kim, and really it's none of your concern who owns it. Well, if my son is involved, it worries me. I own what's his as well. In addition, I need him to send me some cash. At home, things are hard. What? Are you telling the truth? This month, we sent you $2,000. How did that money end up? You don't need to know what I do with the money. Simply advise him to use Venmo to send it and make sure he's more giving this time. She always had that mindset. I handled her. She behaved as though she was entitled to everything and had no regard for other people. Even though she only worked a part-time job, she stole money every month from Rosie and George. I doubt it even addressed her costly Starbucks addiction. Others paid for her opulent lifestyle, but since Rhett took care of everything, I was oblivious to it. I had no idea that things would quickly get worse. You know, Rhett abruptly passed away from a rare illness around 2 years after we were married. We had no time to get ready, so it was quite the shock. I was so depressed that I wanted to give up. My soulmate, Rhett, was someone I could never fathom being without. George and Rosie supported me through this trying time. They shared their grief with me and helped me deal. Though Kim didn't seem to be affected at all, it did bring us closer together. She never spoke to me or offered assistance with the arrangements, and she hardly cried at the funeral. Kim appeared more intent on pursuing her own goals. "Now that the funeral is over, let's talk about Rhett's will," she remarked immediately following the service. "By what do you mean?" "Kim, please show some manners. Don't lecture me. You just lost your son, and all that matters to you is his will. I must understand what I'm obtaining from his possessions. Nothing is being given to you. Given that you've just been a horrible mother to him, how could you possibly hope to?" "It's not possible. If you don't give me my portion, I'll sue you." "He used the majority of his money on medical expenses. Besides, he handed you big checks every month, so he rarely had any savings. It takes guts to want more after everything. You reside in a house that was paid for by him." "I am aware of it. I want a portion of it. You cannot have it all. Nothing you do will make the house yours. It belongs to me." You ought to maintain your distance. Rhett tolerated you, but I refused to. I'll see to it that I receive justice. I'll get back to you." Kim rushed off with that. I was in shock at what had transpired. The fact that Rhett's mother showed little grief for his death further deepened my sadness. Knowing there was more awful news to come, I broke down once more. When I got home after the funeral, I noticed that someone had been in the house. I panicked and checked all my belongings. It turned out that most of Rhett's things were missing. I couldn't even find his wedding ring, the one he gave back to me so I could keep it as a memory of him. Now it is gone from the house. Even our wedding album was missing. I was on the brink of another breakdown and had no idea who could have done this. It had to be someone close to us. A thief would have taken much more. In my mind, there was only one person who could have done this. At that moment, I received a call from Kim. She said, "Now that you've had some time to think, I'll give you a chance. Sign over your share of the house." "How can you still be doing this, Kim? That's never going to happen. You're still being stubborn." "I see, here's the deal. Naomi, I have Brett's wedding ring with me, and I've also gathered all his childhood belongings, along with your wedding album from the house." "What? How is that even possible?" "It was simple to make a spare key from Brett's house keys. I slipped in while you were occupied with the casket. It's quite a pity, isn't it? You'll hand those items back over. Kim." "I'll inform the police." "Yes, you could do that, but I'd destroy them before the police arrive. They might catch me, but you'll never see your precious items again." "What do you want?" "Sign over the house, Naomi. I want the entire house. Since you've been so cheeky with me, I'll give you back the items as soon as you sign the papers." And with that, she hung up on me. I was left in disbelief. I didn't know what to do. Kim had taken all the precious things I had left of Brett. I wanted them back desperately. The house meant little to me, but the more I thought about her actions, the angrier I became. I couldn't let her win, not after everything she'd done to Brett and now to me. I immediately called George and Rosie to the house. I explained everything Kim had said and done. They were shocked and disgusted by her behavior. Rosie said, unashamed, that I'm related to someone like her. My son isn't even laid to rest yet, and she's already up to her old tricks. How can she be so heartless? This is unforgivable. I'm going to her house right now and confront her. You're not signing away a house you and Brett made so many memories in. I won't stand for this. No, Rosie, if we confront her, Kim might destroy the items. I need them back safe and sound. I'll call her and pretend to agree to sign over the house. She won't suspect a thing. But you can't actually do it. It's crazy. Please, Naomi, don't give in to her evil schemes. Don't worry, guys, I won't let her win. I had a plan. Kim had caused so much harm in our lives, and it was time to make her face the consequences. She disrespected Brett's memory and tried to take my house. I wasn't going to let her get away with it easily. I shared my plan with George and Rosie, and they agreed to help me. So I called Kim and told her to get the papers ready. I pretended to be ready to sign over the house to her. Kim was thrilled at my apparent surrender. She said the papers would be ready soon. The nerve of this woman was unbelievable. A week later, Kim called me to sign the papers. I went through them carefully and then handed her some additional papers prepared by my lawyer. I told her to sign them. I've already signed the property papers and processed them, I said. Here's the legal document stating that you've accepted the gift. Oh, do I need to sign this? I can't wait. Just tell me what to do. You just need to sign these papers. That's all there. I've signed these papers and accepted your gift, so I hope you can move out of the house this month. I'll slowly start shifting there. I need to make a lot of redecorations, so make it quick. Don't worry, Kim. You have exactly a month to move into your new house. There won't be any issues. See? It wasn't so difficult, was it? You get what you wanted, and I get what I wanted. Kim was foolish enough to believe I'd just sign away the house. Well, it turns out she was the foolish one. What Kim didn't realize was that I had swapped the papers. I put my signature on a fake document filled with nonsense. She never bothered to read the papers she signed. Kim thought she was signing to accept the house as a gift. She was going to be in for a surprise when she found out how wrong she was. Kim was in for a huge shock. Being her foolish and overly confident self, she decided to throw a lavish party. Apparently, she spent most of her savings on it. I suppose she assumed everyone would keep funding her extravagant lifestyle. She even called me and said, "Hey Naomi, I'm hosting a big party this weekend. You know, your little gift has made my life, so I'm going to invite everyone to share the good news. I want you there when I announce my new house." I'm genuinely happy for you, Kim. I must express my gratitude for returning the items unharmed. You know how much they meant to me. I'll be there to show my appreciation. That's fantastic. I can't wait to brag about the house to everyone. They'll be green with envy. I'm sure they'll be incredibly envious. In my mind, I was laughing uncontrollably. I was getting closer to getting my revenge. Kim used my late husband's memory as leverage to try to take my house. I'll never forgive her for that. I silently prayed to my husband's soul for strength and support and sought justice. I knew you would be on my side, relishing the idea of setting things right. On the day of the party, I felt a bit nervous, but Rosie reassured me, saying, "Don't worry, Naomi. We're here for you. It's time Mom faces the consequences of her actions." I can't wait to see the look on her face. I know Rosie. She's had this coming for a long time. I just hope everyone sees her for who she really is. Everyone will be on your side once they hear the whole story. You're incredibly brave, Naomi. My brother would be so proud of you. Rosie's words filled me with courage. I felt confident and prepared to face whatever came my way. When we arrived at the party, Kim had indeed thrown a grand affair as she promised. It was evident she was ecstatic about her new house and wanted to celebrate it in style. I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement as I took in all the festivities. Many familiar faces filled the room, and I was glad to be surrounded by friends. The real spectacle began when Kim stood up to make a toast. Everyone was curious about the reason behind such an extravagant party and eagerly awaited her announcement. Kim said, "Thank you all for being here. Today is a special day for me, and I wanted to share it with my loved ones. Recently, I achieved a lifelong dream, so this party is a celebration of my accomplishment. Kim, why don't you just come out with it? I'm sure everyone's curious about why we're all gathered here." "Of course, I'll share, Naomi. It's only fair to let them in on the excitement. Everyone, I've been given my dream home by Naomi. She generously gifted me her old house. I'm absolutely thrilled. She made a huge sacrifice, and I'm so grateful to her. Thank you." "For what, Kim?" "For falling for your scheme and signing away my house." "Well, you're in for a surprise. Let me tell you what." "What do you mean?" "I tricked you all. None of that happened. Everyone, I'm here to reveal the truth. Kim kept some valuable possessions of my late husband and forced me to sign over the house. She blackmailed me, threatening to destroy those items and make me suffer. Kim planned everything from the moment my late husband passed away." There was a collective gasp from the crowd as they exchanged shocked whispers. I turned to look at Kim, who appeared visibly nervous. She stuttered, No, Naomi is just joking. None of that happened. She couldn't handle the upkeep of such a large house, and the mortgage was too much for her, so she decided to sign it over to me." "It's not true at all. Rosie and George know the truth. They'll vouch for me." "Naomi is telling the truth, Kim. You tried to blackmail her into signing away the house. Rosie and I tried to intervene, but you didn't listen to any of us." "Yes, that's correct. You need to stop lying to everyone. All of you acted in my best interest. Kim, I deserve the house too. After all, my son contributed to it as well. That house should rightfully belong to me. Naomi was foolish to give it up for a few sentimental items. Are you that naive, Kim? Did you honestly believe I would sign over my house to you?" The room fell silent, and even Kim appeared stunned by my words. George and Rosie exchanged amused glances in the background. "What do you mean, Naomi?" Kim stammered. "You should have taken the time to read the papers before signing, Kim. You should have even consulted a lawyer before putting your signature on anything. I swapped the papers you signed. Here, take a look at what they actually say." "Wait, this says I've signed over my house to you. How is this possible?" "I had a lawyer prepare the papers." No, this is fake. Can't you see this is a forgery? It seems like your own scheming has backfired on you. Technically, your house now belongs to me, while my house thankfully still remains in my name. Here's your eviction notice. Your house now belongs to me, and I want you out within a month. Don't even think about asking us for money. We're done with you, too. You won't get a penny from us. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you have any decency left, you won't set foot near my door again." No, this can't be happening. You can't do this." Oh my God. Before she could finish her sentence, Kim simply fainted. I was sorely tempted to laugh at the scene. No one rushed to help Kim. Instead, they threw disgusted looks her way. Some even left the party after offering me words of support. Nobody defended Kim because they knew exactly the kind of person she was. It was George who called 911 and requested an ambulance. Kim was taken to the hospital for evaluation. Meanwhile, I stayed at the party with Rosie and enjoyed myself. Everyone there criticized Kim as they never liked her manipulative ways. This time, they were glad to see someone stand up to her. The next day, I received numerous calls from Kim. She begged me to cancel the agreement and give her the house back. She even threatened legal action. I simply reminded her that she had signed the papers willingly and there was nothing she could do. I also warned her that I could legally evict her from the house after a month. Despite her pleas, I stood firm. Before the month was up, I found a perfect buyer for Kim's home. They were a young couple who reminded me a lot of myself and my late husband, so I accepted their offer and sold the house for a good price. Kim lashed out at me when she found out, but quickly backed off when I threatened to involve the police for harassment. Without the financial means to handle legal troubles, she fell silent. Later, Rosie told me that Kim had been begging them to take her in. She was on the brink of homelessness and had no money. However, they were fed up with her toxic behavior and refused to support her again. Meanwhile, I've been gradually rebuilding my life with the proceeds from selling Kim's house. I was able to fully pay off my own home. I even had enough left over to treat George and Rosie to a vacation. While I may not be interested in dating again, it brings me comfort to know that I can continue living in the house I shared with my late husband.